But let me tell you, RUTO is very good with games. I personally think that your bread, sanitary, and diapers, they were personally, ziliekwa hapo kwa bill on purpose so that he can take them out to be seen as a savior.
A Trojan horse.
I don't think the government is going to make the best decision in this situation. I think they'll try and divide the youth, and this is, I guess, one of the talking points hopefully we'll get to. But I think they'll try and divide the youth, especially the ones mobilizing people back home. Just divide and conquer strategy. So just try and pay off others that they can pay off to confuse the protest. Silence others where they can be silenced, whether it's physically or kuweka ndani kiasi, and then
One mic, those brown envelopes is the reason Dangote did not open a cement factory in Kenya. He was surprised that we were more corrupt than Nigeria. Yes,
I remember that one.
Yeah, and then Jacob Korir says, for us to really handle corruption, we need to know numbers. Difference between billions and millions. And
Eric,
Joseph Korir father says, how can one person get $1 billion shillings tender really? Are we serious right now? And Anthony Carrier says, salute to One Mic.
One Mic Show.
Yeah.
Now I was gonna say, pertaining to Jacob Korir's comment.
Yeah.
What, and listening to Latif Spice, he was talking to the economics guy. He was talking to Arun Cheriot, and I think it boiled down. He boiled it down to this: it's public management. It's managing the public finance, meaning getting audits. Tuanze na audits.
Yeah,
that's it.
With the debts.
That's it. Yeah, madeni. Because our champion Jimmy Wanjigi
deni wanalipa. Hatuna hizo deni mingi.
Hiyo deni ni gani?
Hizo deni kuna madeni zinaitwa odious debts. Odious debts are debts that are being paid but you don't know what you did. Imagine Citibank or Bank of America is sending you a credit card bill, but you don't remember ever spending that money.
I never swiped for this ticket.
Yeah, I never swiped for this for these tickets, or I never swiped for this $50,000 watch. But wanakuletea bill, ndo hii hapa bill na ulipe
$4,000 bill.
Which is what, and I believe when that audit is done, mambo itachemuka. And we're going to be in a very
but right
place.
now,
yeah,
mambo imechemka.
Right
now,
yeah,
imechemka.
So let's go back to Val. And Val, I was asking you earlier, at what point did the debate change? Because initially it was reject the finance bill, but now RUTO must go is becoming louder and louder.
The
and
clarion
louder.
call.
Yeah. So at what point do you feel like things shifted?
I think the protests were like almost more than a week, right?
Yes.
And after the second reading, they still passed the bill. And on Tuesday, I feel like on Tuesday after the deaths, that's when, the chanting was there of RUTO must go.
Yeah.
But haikuwa kubwa hivyo sana.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't that loud.
No.
Until Tuesday. Tuesday, that's when everything, like the whole dynamic shifted. Everything went ballistic. After the murders, the accusations, as in, you're the president. Unafaa kuwa, you're the one who's supposed to be uniting all of us. But let me tell you, RUTO is very good with games. I personally think that your bread, sanitary, and diapers, they were ziliekwa hapo kwa bill on purpose so that he can take them out to be seen as a savior.
A Trojan horse.
He wasn't expecting that people will see through that. And then now, given when Robo was mentioning the atrocities, so sahi tumeanza kuona kumbe Uhuru alituambia. But we didn't listen to Uhuru when he was telling us. He warned us.
Some people were punishing him. Yeah. There was a community that was punishing him. Yeah.
Don't go far.
Yeah.
Part of Mount Kenya
was punishing him.
Let me tell you right now.
Yeah.
Those guys,
Wamekuja
where we are.
Unajua ni nini ili happen Mount Kenya? I think Kenya ili happen ni tuli lose trust na Uhuru.
Yeah.
So by the time he was telling us the truth, we were not trusting him anymore.
The problem came is when he decided to shikilia to come out and say that I am going to support this mzee.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
The
Yeah.
minute no let's get it, because remember there were different factions. There were the factions of Kumi na Kumi, and it because now we have committed 10, we have to keep our
Promise
of 10. That was okay, like, you know, you're keeping your promise. But the guy who has been managing, who most of the mountain considers the guy who came through clutch, right? The guy who came through clutch is telling you hapa iko madhogodhanio, and guys are like, where there's no way. Because remember, it has always been faux pas to support Raila.
Yes.
In Central. There's this whole thing,
And it's been for a very long time.
Yes. But even with that, in the small barazas and small kamkunjis of the mountain, and some of the people that we are talking to, some people who are ardent, and some guys who blame their torture on Raila, you know, doing the, you know, attempting the coup.
Yeah.
You know, it was those guys come out and say, hapana, we're gonna go with Raila. Na unaambia watu wanakataa. Tugokera tene. Utagore RUTO.
Oh yes, I agree with that.
Right now, vindu vichenjanga. So
Yeah.
that was the problem. But also remember that when you kick him out and he did this, there was almost a million plus. The percentage of voters jumped. And not, I'm not going to say unheard of, but yes, compared to other times, Raila was going to get. Then you compare to what the amount of whatever, that was huge.
It was a huge difference.
But all because waliuziwa sera za hustler
narrative.
Not even that. Dynasty.
Hustler versus dynasty. Okay. Yeah. So back to you, Val. You know, we're talking about, you know, like when the debate shifted from reject finance bill to RUTO must go. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
I feel like on Tuesday, that's when everything hit the fan.
What was happening on Tuesday?
After the massacre. And then the president gave that speech.
Treasonous criminals.
Yes, he called people treasonous criminals, and he told deployed the KDF and told them to use full force. That's when everybody was like, wow, this is really the guy. This is the guy after the Kiambaa massacre. This is the guy who, when the children, when he was grabbing land, ile shule alikuwa na grab. You remember that story?
The one kina Boni were fighting for.
Exactly. So hizo vitu ndio zilianza kuja kwa akili za watu wanaona hala. And then when you look at this, when it comes to Mlima Kenya, and this is a story for another day, I think RUTO was purposely trying to finish Mlima Kenya. When you think about it, like your story, the Gema Mira, who hike Mira, you know, most of the farming comes from Lima Kenya and Mount Kenya, and then you're doing all these tax hikes and things like that, and it's atrocious. So
and the funny thing, the place where he was using that hustler term the most was in the cities and in Mlima Kenya. Yeah, when he would go to Rift Valley, he would not call his people hustlers. So that was a very interesting dynamic in how he was doing that.
And every dictator always has a slogan. Let's look at Mussolini, Lenin, Hitler. Watu wanakuanga na hiyo slogan. They unite everybody first with a common cause, and they try to resemble themselves with the people who are going through that. And then once they've achieved what they've achieved, now they show us their true colors.
Make America great again.
So
oh, sorry.
MAGA.
You know, and that's what we are seeing and we are witnessing right now. I feel hapo ndio kila kitu ili change. Like me, before the statement, I was just like, reject the finance bill, yeah, RUTO must go. But now after Tuesday, there's no way we should have this man in power, because if we give him the opportunity, right now we decide no more protests, atarudi at a format game yake, he will know how to do this even better. He will
Yes.
find ways to silence people and do a crackdown.
Now,
This
you
is-
talked about even the military deployment. There was an issue that people were asking, like, is this legal? Because I already saw Gen Zs, like analyzing it very deeply on Twitter and other places. But I remember what happened is that we saw a Gazette notice first before Parliament went and did a quick sitting. And then all of a sudden, we are seeing, like, the military being deployed in the streets. And the courts, I think the courts gave him like I think a couple of days to formalize, like what exactly he's doing. So where is the legality issue on this aspect of deploying military? We actually saw KDF on the streets in Nairobi, which is it was a spectacle. No, this is not something that we ever expected to see in Kenya. I think the last time this happened was during the 1982 coup. So what's the legality of this?
I don't think there's any legality, because we've witnessed a lot of breaching of the constitution.
Yeah.
I think the constitution, but I feel like in the constitution it says that Parliament is the one that needs to pass the motion of
Yes.
the KDF. It
Yes.
has to go through Parliament. It's
Yes.
just like this finance bill. There was really no legalities when you think about it. Ina finance bill inatengenezwa kwanza, si ndio? Inaenda Parliament, inarudi kwa, alafu inafaa irudi kwa public participation,
Yeah.
alafu kwa committee tena, alafu I think there's another process, then it becomes which one?
Reading.
Yes,
The
and-
reading, yeah.
yes, the reading, and then now it goes back to the committee and it becomes part of the appropriations bill, alafu sa inaekwa kwa budget. So I don't think some of those criterias were followed. I don't know them in line, but
Yeah.
we've witnessed that. The constitution needs to be upheld in high regard. Lakini in Kenya, there is really no checks and balances, and our judiciary is weak, and that's where we are failing.
Yeah,
Even Parliament itself is
yeah,
weak.
Yes.
because I think judiciary, that's the next place that Gen Zs need to go and just salimia a few people there and just remind them that you're supposed to be doing your job. Roba, with what has happened, I mean, I know there's a clamor for RUTO must go. There's a chance that, like maybe he might survive this and stay. But do you think what has happened might now force the government to change behavior from what they've been doing right now? Or do you think they'll wait for this to calm down and then they'll go back to business as usual? Roba, what's your assessment?
Yeah, my response to that is I don't know if if you guys watched the address he gave. I think it was 2 p.m. our time here, 9 p.m. in Kenya on Tuesday.
Yeah.
After everything that happened in Parliament, after all the shootings by the sniper, and I think the Githurai massacre had just happened, or it was about to happen.
It was happening the night after.
Or it was the night after, yeah.
Yeah.
And he came out. And
It was the night of, not the night,
night
of.
of, yeah,
Night
night
of,
of.
not night after.
Yeah.
Night
So
of.
it was happening that same night, and he came out and called us criminals and said these are treasonous actions, and that he'll use the full power or the full resources of the government to crack down on the criminals. I don't think the government is going to make the best decision in this situation. I think they'll try and divide the youth, and this is, I guess, one of the talking points. Hopefully, we'll get to. But I think they'll try and divide the youth, especially the ones mobilizing people back home. Just divide and conquer strategy. So just try and pay off others that they can pay off to confuse the protests. Silence others where they can be silenced, whether it's physically or kuweka ndani kiasi and then kuachilia. I don't think they'll do the right thing. From what I'm seeing from this government and RUTO, I don't think he'll go the right way. I surely hope he could, or he does, because the country does need a leader who's competent and who can change Kenya for the better. But I honestly have very little hope in after that speech. Even after the next one alitoa the next day akiringa ati ametuma watu Qatar na Saudi, like it's a good thing. Vijana wataki kwenda Saudi na Qatar.
No.
we are creative, we are skilled, we want to build our own country. Even the same for all of us.
Yeah.
I believe all of us have a dream to go back home and build our nation.
Yeah.
I'd much rather work with my people, I do software engineering, so I'd much rather work with my own people creating pieces of software. That's how America got to where it is. The companies like Microsoft, Apple, zilianza juu ya watu kujenga start their businesses, and that goes to the other tax conversation that we're having, that they need to reduce taxes so entrepreneurship can grow and businesses can grow and capitalism can start maturing, because we're not even at that stage to be taxing people as much as we do. But that's another conversation. There's so many conversations to have, but the point is I have zero faith in this government currently. I don't think RUTO and the government will make the best decision, and that's why my stance bado ni RUTO must go.